Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I'm giving you a quick look at Crysis 2 single player. I'll have something a little bit more thorough, I'd imagine, at some point, although I'm very, very pushed for time right now. So I thought I'd show you a bit of the single player because thus far I've been enjoying it immensely, and I'd like to show you why. This is one of the very few videos I put out in 1080p because, hey, it's Crysis 2. It would be a little bit silly if I didn't. So please turn on to 1080p if you haven't already. I am currently running at the maximum graphics settings allowed within the game. Any customization that I have done has been done in the ini files, and I've increased the field of view, but I haven't changed anything else. The reason for that is if you turn absolutely everything on the max it could go via the use of the advanced configuration utility, which is something that somebody made which edited the ini files, the game will run at about 4 frames a second on a machine of my caliber, which, that's ridiculous. It just can't run. But it runs really well in this mode right here. At 1080p on my machine, I'm running at about 130 frames per second, and it'll drop down to about 80 if I go to 2560 by 1600. And honestly, effects-wise, the game does look and play really, really well. However, that's not what I'm wanting to focus on in this video. What I'm wanting to focus on is just how much better this is than the Homefront single player, and really any other single player in recent memory aside from maybe Bulletstorm. But even then, Bulletstorm had its problems as well, in just how linear it was. Now, in this game, what you're being given is a wide open space, and you're being given a number of options with how to attack it, and I'm finding that not only is it very challenging and hard, you're going to see me dying in a number of different ways in this particular sequence over the next 10 minutes. And as I try these different routes through this area to try and find what the best way is, and I don't really succeed in any of them, but I'm really happy about the ability to actually fail. This is something that I was talking about in Homefront, that really it doesn't let you fail all that much, it doesn't let you do stupid stuff. Whereas here, it's obvious that there's a number of ways that you could go, and that you're not really supposed to face them head on, but you can. You can go in there and face them head on. Chances are you'll die, but at least it gives you the goddamn option. You can do something incredibly stupid. I mean, you can alert them to your presence, and then you get gunned down by snipers on the rooftops and the guy in the heavy gun on the Jeep, and you've just got so many choices as to how you can approach this particular area. Now, I don't know if it's as good as, say, the first few hours of the original Crysis, whereby you're on this massive, great, sodding island. But the fact that you are in a city means that you are more limited in the options that you have available. But let me show you another way of approaching this area. So I'm going to stab him, take him out with the stealth, and sneak around there. We're going to do a little bit of a stealthy approach right here. Now, they're aware that one of their guys has died, but I want to take down the guy in the heavy gun, so there we go. And then I'm going to move it. Now, the AI in this game is pretty damn smart, so if a couple of guys go down and they don't report in, they'll realize it, and you'll see the stealth meter to the side, which will tell you just how alert they are. In the yellow, they'll be looking around for you. In the red, the chances are, if you move quite fast, they will spot you through cloak, and they will be actively looking for you if you're cloaked. So that's a little bit dangerous, but I'm playing really stealthy here, trying to avoid as many guys as possible for the time being anyway. And unfortunately, I did get spotted there. I should have turned my cloak on, but yeah, I say they're very quick to spot you, so you got to be careful. What this game also has is this ability, this lean ability. It's alright, actually. Sometimes it doesn't handle as well as I would like, but most of the time it works pretty well. It's a sort of sticky cover system that doesn't put you in third-person mode, which is good. I mean, putting Crysis into third-person seems stupid. You wouldn't want to do anything like that. But you can do all sorts of things, like power slide into people, kind of like Bulletstorm, really. You can land on them, which will kill them, or you can throw objects at them. And what you'll also find is there's a lot of different areas on the map where you'll find some interesting weapons as well as ways to resupply. And the amount of ammo you have seems to be very limited in this one, which is good. You have to conserve your ammo. You can't really go in gung-ho because you'll probably run out of ammo very rapidly and be left in a very bad situation. I think the thing that I like about this game is that you do feel like a super soldier, but you are having to do hit-and-run attacks. You can kill a load of guys, but you can't kill them head-on. You can maybe take 3 or 4 head-on if your armor mode holds out, but if you try any longer than that, you'll end up running out of energy. Your suit energy drains very rapidly, and you'll have to try and take cover. If you get spotted, you're in a lot of trouble. You can't take many hits. Now, I'm playing on Veteran, which is hard, basically. There's one higher than that, which is effectively the version of Delta, which is some like Future Warrior or whatever. I didn't go on that one. But the hard mode is hard. It really, really is. You've got to be very careful with how you approach things. And what I like is how tense the game feels all the time. You don't feel like you're a god at any point, but you do feel like you've got an edge over guys, but you've really got to use your brain to figure out exactly what the best way to do it is. Now, there's something here called Nano Vision, which will show you a couple of possible areas as well as where your objective is, and you don't really need to use this, honestly, but it's nice to be able to locate some weapon caches and things like that, and also it'll sometimes tell you weaknesses of various different enemies and the types of weapons they have at their disposal. So I've been spotted there by a sniper on the roof, but the other guys haven't noticed me yet, so I should be alright for the time being. The thing I don't like about Nano Vision is it points out... you know how that Deus Ex Human Revolution video was really obvious, like, oh, look at all these different ways you can do things, but it seemed also contrived. And that's how some people viewed it. I personally didn't view it that way, but I thought it was over-explained. In Nano Vision as well, it's like, oh, you could explore here, or you could go over here. It's like, well, why don't you just let us do that? Now, you don't really have to use Nano Vision, though. It's entirely optional, so you can explore and find those ways yourself. So I'm liking that an awful lot. Now, Gunplay. Superb. So far, really, really, really good. Feels awesome. They sound good, they feel good, they handle like you would expect a PC game to handle. There is no mouse acceleration, there is no auto-aim in this version, so that is a very good thing indeed. And the gunplay is an absolute goddamn joy. It really is. It's a little bit addictive, honestly. It's so much fun. Although, what I will say is a lot of the enemies do seem to be a bit bullet spongy, but I think that's because they're all in combat armor, so I suppose you can kind of get away with that. Hit them in the head, they will still go down, but their hitboxes for the heads are very, very small. You've got to be very accurate, which a lot of people are going to like. I also like that. You hold, it's like, hand loss imminent. Yeah, love it. So, the set pieces so far and the flexibility that you have in every area is great. There's not a lot of corridor shooting in this game so far. Bear in mind, this is a first impressions. Please do not take this as a buy this game right now kind of idea, because I don't know how it's going to turn out. I know the campaign's about 10 to 12 hours, and there is also a New Game Plus mode, which is good. That's good. That's a long campaign. That's 3 times the length of Homefronts and Modern Warfare 2's, and about twice the length of Bulletstorm, so that is good. But up to this point, which is about an hour into the game, it feels really good, and I'm enjoying every single minute of it, and I'm enjoying losing. That's the great thing, because I think, what could I do here? How can I use the environment to actually beat my adversaries, as opposed to being forced through these guys, and thank God you don't have any NPCs running around telling you what to do. You are on your own, pretty much, and you have a lot of flexibility and a lot of freedom to approach encounters in the way that you would like to. There are a few moments that I found where I think I should be able to bypass something, but it's like there's been an invisible wall there. Like, for instance, I managed to get on top of a fence, and I tried to jump over it, and it seemed like I could do that, because there was an area behind that I could walk, but I couldn't do it. So I don't know, maybe if I just couldn't jump high enough, or whether they'd restricted me from doing that, but I could get around it by just walking around the fence. But I'd like to be able to jump around the fence. That would have been great. But as you can see here, very much hit and run, you know. At this point, my heart is pounding, I'm feeling really tense. I'm really gripped by the game in the way that it's presented and the constant challenge it's putting in there. Yeah, you have this nanosuit, but that doesn't make you invulnerable. It really, really doesn't. It gives you an edge, and you know for a fact without that edge, you wouldn't be able to succeed against these kinds of odds. But you can only just. You're always feeling like you're finishing a fight like this where you just survive it. Now, graphically, the DirectX 11 features are not being patched in yet. I don't know how much that's going to actually help. It's in DirectX 9 right now. It runs pretty well as far as I can tell. It seems to be very well optimized. Everyone who's played it so far that I've been reading on the forums has had no problem running it on their system at all. The lack of graphics customization options are ridiculous, I have to say, but you can tweak them via a advanced utility, which can be downloaded that someone came up with, or you can just do it manually in the INI files and the configs yourself. I strongly disagree with Crytek's approach, whereby they think that there's a one-size-fits-all thing, and no doubt the game will sort of scale to your system, but PCs are such unpredictable things that you can't always tell whether or not something like that is going to work. Therein lies the problem with it. Yes, you can kick cars at people. Unfortunately, that was kind of a dumb idea to get it to cover immediately. So, I don't like that at all, but there is at least a way that you can alter it a little bit, although I wouldn't recommend cranking everything up to maximum with 16 times AF, because there's no computer on the planet right now that can actually run it. Mine is... it's not the most powerful you can get, but it's very, very close to being the most powerful. I should also point out that SLI support doesn't seem to be in current NVIDIA drivers, and you have to download the EVGA add-on which will give you a profile for it. I imagine the driver support will come in. I don't think that's really Crytek's fault. I'm fairly sure it's NVIDIA's fault, so just bear that one in mind. Now, I've also noticed that if you customize the FOV, then you'll also be in a situation where you may see some tearing through some of the terrain. It's not severe, it only happens every now and again, but it is there. However, it is very comfortable to play for me in 90 FOV in single player, so I'm happy with the way that it performs there. The performance in general is just really, really solid from what I can tell. Now, from what I've seen so far, the single player, I have to heartily reject the ideas that this is actually being consolified. The multiplayer demo did not fill me with confidence. However, the single player seems really good. I haven't had a chance to play the multiplayer because right now, mycrysis.com is broken for a lot of people. They can't log in, and the server browser is knackered. So that's bad. You know, that should not have happened at all, and I heartily criticize them for that. However, so far, I'm really loving the single player, so I can get around those issues, and hopefully they will fix them. I'll bring you some more detailed impressions of it, and I'll tell you whether or not it actually gets any worse as I go along. But in the first hour or so to 2 hours, this is really, really good stuff. I'm a big fan. And I love the fact that I constantly fail after trying all these different ideas to get through it on the hardest difficulty. That is so great. The game does not hold your hand. So thank God for that. So my conclusion is no, the single player is not consolified at all. It feels like a PC game, it looks like a PC game, it plays like one, and the way that the levels are designed feels like Far Cry and it feels like the original Crysis. That is a good thing. It really, really is. Impressed. Very impressed. My name is TotalBiscuit. That's been a look at Crysis 2 single player. Only a first impressions. I'll try and bring you some more detailed stuff later on. And also, of course, a full roundup of the multiplayer will be coming on to get the chance to play it. It probably won't happen until I get back from Italy, though, I'm afraid, because I'll be just a little bit too busy. Although, I'm very tempted to put Crysis on the laptop and see how it performs on that. My name's been TotalBiscuit. Hopefully you've enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time.